Cool. Let me show you all the website then. I think I showed this last week as well. But then this is basically our plan for the semester. It's on Notion. We can put it in the chat as well, and we have it on our Slack. So this is basically the plan for the semester. So last week we had like our general meeting and we talked about current trends. Today we're talking about like future of products and like general trends as well. Next week we're going to talk about like acquisitions, go to market strategies, and like we have like a month by month plan, so you can like take your time and like look at it. We have like our links on social media. We have like past semester, I think that link's empty, but we're probably going to fill it soon. And then we have like general resources. I think this is all made by Disha, thanks. It probably took us like a long time to like figure this stuff out like on our own, so we just want to provide these resources to you all. But yeah, that's it for the website. We'll keep on updating it week by week. And if you have any suggestions or like anything, just DM us on Slack and we'll be happy to add them in.
Wait, one more thing. So we're really trying to work on our diversity. So if you look around, like on everyone who has their camera on, we are not diverse at all by ethnic, gender, or anything. So if you have friends that are interested in technology, business design, please encourage them to come out. I know we started in like a virtual semester, so it was really hard to get the word out, but we posted in places like the Informatics Piazza, the CICS Discord. So we are trying. But if you have friends that are interested, just send them the Notion doc link. We'll put it in Slack. And if you could help us like improve our diversity, it'll improve our discussions. It'll improve the club overall. So that's something we're trying to be mindful of.
Stop sharing my screen and then let me begin sharing my screen again for slides. It's just a short presentation and then we can like talk about general trends. So first of all, introductions, let's just go over and like just introduce each other and then just name your major and then a semester check-in on how everyone's doing. So I can begin. So I'm Dhruv. I'm a senior CS and math major. Most of you all know me. I'm living on campus in North Apartments currently. If you want to meet on campus, like socially distance or something, I'm happy to meet you all. And semester's been going good. I'm part-time, so mainly focusing on my honors thesis and just job hunting in general. But apart from that, not that bad. And I'll popcorn it to Aditya. Surbit.
Hey everyone, my name is Aditya, and I'm a 2024 CS major, considering like a math or maybe philosophy double major. I'm on campus right now in Amherst. My semester has been pretty nice. I'm taking a couple of gen eds and math and CS classes, but yeah, it's been pretty nice adjusting to being alone and yeah, in a different country. I'll popcorn it to the other Aditya.
All right, hi, I'm Aditya. I'm also a freshman CS major. I'm at home this semester and it's been going pretty well so far, I think. I'm also taking a couple of gen eds and a math and a physics, so it's fairly well balanced. I'll pop it over to Manas.
Thanks, man. So my name's Manas. I'm super stoked to be here at ACM. I'm also a sophomore at UMass Amherst majoring in CS. And I've been taking a couple of CS classes along with a couple of gen eds just to get that out of the way. Really going to ramp up my course load next semester, really. But I also run a startup, fintech startup, that's actually, we pivoted from democratizing the bond market to actually using trading quantum mental strategies. So we're basically like a hedge fund, except for the people. So right now we've been, working on that for the past 2 years, really, with my fellow friends at BC. And yeah, that's going pretty well. So if you want to chat about that or just talk about it in general, feel free to hit me up. Oh shit, I got a popcorn to someone. Yeah, how about I'll popcorn it to Alexandra.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex. I'm a sophomore biomedical engineering major with a minor in business. I am also in the Amherst area. I'm actually in Baker and Central. And how I've been doing, this I think will be my hardest semester academically wise, because I'm loading up on classes to go abroad next semester, and do business rather than engineering. So pray for me. That's all I'm going to say. I'll popcorn it over to Disha.
That's really cool. Where are you studying abroad?
So I learned Mandarin throughout high school. So I'm trying to go to Shanghai for international business this fall.
That's really
That's how it
cool.
works.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the first.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. Hopefully you'll be able to go though. That'll be awesome. Fingers crossed. All right, well, I'm Disha. I'm an info and econ double major and kind of a junior, kind of a senior. I'm graduating in December, and I'm currently in the Bay Area, California. So first to not be in Amherst. And the semester is going okay, other than the crazy time difference, but I can't complain because I know people are doing it from like other continents. I'll popcorn it to who hasn't gone yet? Govind.
Hey, wait, what's the format of this? Sorry, I kind of missed that part. Okay, so
Name, year, major,
On the
location,
screen.
even though I forgot. Yeah, it's on the screen.
oh,
Wait, aren't you a web developer? I'm kind of concerned now.
I'll go over everything. Yes, I am. I am currently part of ACM as well. The head of web dev should be doing more work. I am. You will see it hopefully in a week or so. But aside from that, I'm a junior right now, computer science and math double major, trying to do a business minor if that works out. I live off campus, but I'm still in the Amherst area if anyone in the Amherst area wants to meet up. But yeah, I hope everyone's being safe. And yeah, the semester is pretty stressful. That's all.
Who you popcorning it to, buddy?
Who's not gone? Tahir, have you gone?
Yeah, hey, my name is Tahir. I'm a freshman. I'm an informatics major, and right now I'm in Houston, Texas. Okay.
Staying safe.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Hope you're staying safe. I heard that there's like a lot of snowstorms.
Yeah, we are having a lot of power cuts right now. So just in
Still
case
able to
if
make
I
it to the
need a
Zoom call
meeting,
though. Kudos
yeah.
to you, man.
Himanshu, are you left?
Yeah. I'm Himanshu, and I'm a 2024 student, so freshman, majoring in computer science and not double majoring in math yet. And I'm in Amherst, Massachusetts. I came here 3 weeks ago, so yeah, this is new experience. I'm loving it so far. No in-person classes, but hoping we'll get them soon. And I'm overloading on credits this semester, and I've not reached the point where I'm regretting. So I'm expecting that I'll regret that in a month or so. But let's see. I'm also TAing a physics class, so let's see how that goes.
Awesome. Is there anyone else left? No. Cool. Then these are just like small logistical things that if you haven't joined our Slack, this is the link. There's an ACM Discord, and this is our meeting link every week. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM us or like post it on the Slack channel under questions. And yeah, we can probably just hop in and like talk about future trends in tech. We have like a few things in mind, like audio, social media, Clubhouse. We can discuss that, cryptocurrency, and self-driving cars. Yeah, so I think Disha had like a video, so we can probably share that.
Yeah, so by raise of hands, how many people know what Clubhouse is? One person, 2, 3, awesome. 4, okay, cool. So I was able to find a quick YouTube video because it is kind of confusing to explain. So we can probably watch that. Okay, can everyone see it?
What the hell is Clubhouse, and why are people paying $100 for an invite? Find out this week on Snackable Marketing. Recently, it was announced that Apple added a new privacy feature in iOS 14 that will allow iPhone users to stop being tracked by apps like Facebook as they surf the web. This obviously triggered Facebook, and as funny as it is to see Facebook care about the little guy because of the ad revenue they stand to lose, it's still concerning for businesses who rely on Facebook for lead generation, remarketing, and reporting on conversion ads. Let's see where the ground settles in the coming weeks. Our featured story this week is on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is an audio-only social network where you essentially drop into rooms on topics ranging from property investment to small business advice. It's kind of like dropping into a live podcast, and you can either just listen or put your hand up and be part of the conversation. In a masterful play the creators are calling a beta test, you can only get in if you're invited by another user, which has seen people resort to literally trying to bribe their way in. Our final story this week is about SEO and ranking on Google.
Okay. So that was like a high level overview of what the hell is Clubhouse. It's just like Facebook groups, or like how Manas put it, it's like Twitch, but audio only. And it's really popped off lately. They had like Elon Musk the other day. I couldn't get in. There's like a 5,000 person cap on the rooms. They had Steve Ballmer the other day. If anyone watches Bollywood movies, they had Sonam Kapoor and her husband the other day. So there's like a crazy range of like the types of people that come on there, like Microsoft CEO to like random actress. So it's becoming quite an interesting fad, like more than the norm of people are really interested in talking on social media. And it turns out Twitter is actually coming out with its competitor, which they've been in testing for a couple of months, Twitter Spaces. And Mark Zuckerberg actually came on Clubhouse, and apparently a week after, Facebook started developing their own competitor to Clubhouse. So yeah, Govind, the head shake is real. So let's talk about this. Why do you guys think audio social media is becoming so popular? And do you think it has something to do with the state of the world right now, where we're all at home? And what are some problems that might come up with this? Like, Clubhouse is awesome, but there've been some really big concerns with, I don't know if anyone knows Mr. Beast. He's like a really big YouTuber. Apparently he had a room on Clubhouse the other day, and there was some person of color who he had called up. He called up like 5 people to talk in his room, and one person was like a person of color and had like a really long name, and he like was like, no, I can't read your name, so I'm just going to send you back in front of like a million or thousands of people. So there's some like really weird encounters that people have with like just like really discrimination and stuff like that. So that might be a red flag. So let's talk about that. Whoever wants to go first, I think you can just raise your hand with the emoji thing, and that should be a good way to go about it. Yeah, Alex, go for it.
I definitely think Clubhouse and a lot of audio trends can sort of be seen with the rise of podcasts. That's the way I correlated it initially. I think it's just a growing form of audio. It's very popular among a lot of commuters and people who are trying to find ways to be like more productive per se, and sort of squeeze in a lot of information when they're doing mindless activities like walking, dishes, etc., and stuff like that. And I think Clubhouse is simply just an extension of that movement, just generally.
Makes sense.
I'm on mute. I was gonna say, I agree. I was listening to the Steve Ballmer episode like while doing my homework for 3:45. And another thing, like while it's similar to podcasts, I feel like they get more people to attend because of this like kind of concept of FOMO, where the episodes are not recorded. So you have to attend in person if you want to hear these people talk. And I think that helps with their like acquisition. Govind, go ahead.
I think I read this thing the other day where like one reason tech CEOs are kind of inclined to go on this is because traditional media has the tendency to treat these CEOs as like the big evil, or but the problem is when people are faced with actually say talking to a CEO, they're more likely to treat say these people with more respect. That's the appeal of celebrities on these platforms. It's just that traditional media has just gotten to like, I guess it just attacks these celebrities too much. It's too harsh on them. And I feel like the appeal of these apps is just that if we make it a little less informal, if we have just rooms, there's a reason you call it rooms. You're not calling it a live stream, live stream makes it sound much more different than it, like say, oh, I'm in a room with Elon Musk, I don't know. That's what I think one of the reasons it's appealing to at least a bigger people.
Yeah, Himanshu, go ahead.
So when I first heard about Clubhouse, I still think that it is not that revolutionary how they make it like they make it seem like, oh, it's like this thing, but it's like a really common thing. And I think their entire PR and marketing around the whole thing is exceptional. I mean, first the introducing the FOMO factor inside where a limited number of people have it, and I actually didn't give a shit about the app unless I actually got an invite and I went inside, and I didn't use it that much. But what I'm trying to say is that they created this really good strategy to bring as many people as possible. And secondly, I don't understand how all these celebrities are hopping on the app. I mean, it just started. It's not a thing which is like developed or something. It just started, and somehow all these people started coming inside. How is that happening? I'm really interested to know about that. They must be doing at least something. I mean, I really don't know, but like there is something going on where they are doing this whole thing. I really don't know. Actually, I'm curious.
Yeah. Another thing is like I used to think like what a success. Like all of a sudden this app is booming. It's doing better than the other social media apps. Like the CEOs and founders must be like real geniuses. And then I read more into it and it turns out the two CEOs or like founders of Clubhouse actually have 4 failed social media apps between them. So this is their 5th social media startup that they've made and now it's a hit. So that's such an inspirational story. Like, keep trying, be resilient, and things will work out. Because I thought this was like an overnight success, but it actually isn't at all. They have 4 failed startups. Like, think about the emotional toll that takes on you. 4 failed companies. That's insane. Aditya, Aditya N, I saw you nodding. Do you have anything to add? Oh, were you just wondering?
I was just nodding.
Sorry.
But
I think what's interesting is that, like you mentioned, like I didn't know that they had like failed 4 startups before, but what I was reading up on was that everyone's kind of tired of like being in a text environment, and because of what Alex said, like podcasts were famous last year, and like this was Joe Rogan and like everyone else who made it famous, and then Elon Musk came on his podcast and like that blew up and everything. So I think that gave into this. And now everyone just wants to like talk, like not video talk, but like just like speak their mind freely about different stuff. And like rather than like texting, we can see how like voice assistance and like speech recognition is kind of like booming up. So that kind of might be an indication as well. But yeah, I feel like a lot of factors like went into this. But what I'm kind of afraid of is what Disha was like leaning towards before, is that like Twitter created like Twitter Spaces. And like 3 months ago when like TikTok came out, like Facebook created Facebook Reels. So it's kind of like ripping off these like these technologies in a way where it might be like not beneficial, but I don't know what I think about that. What do you all think?
Yeah, I definitely think with trying to, copy or like take a page out of Clubhouse's book, it's definitely going to dilute almost the market of people looking for these things, especially when it's no longer invite only. Because I honestly think if anybody knows about like the early origins of how kind of Clubhouse gained its hype or like what they exactly did. Yeah, see, like literally every social media, even Facebook, is trying to do it. But I feel like the magic of Clubhouse is really the concept of like what Disha was saying and things like that. Or I know Govind was saying this, how there's a lot of exclusivity built around that, and you can have direct access to celebrities and a lot of popular very high up people who can give you lots of great advice. And I'm not sure how that exactly started, but I think that's just why there's hype around Clubhouse. Not necessarily the format or anything like that, but from the FOMO and the clout you can get from it. So I'm curious to see how other platforms or competitors like Twitter Spaces and whatever Facebook is doing is gonna get the same sort of effect.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I don't even know much about the audio space, but I knew for a long period of time that, it's kind of similar to some of the other social media applications out there. But even after like, the whole pandemic hit, like communication online, regardless of like form wise, like it could be Zoom or it could be Clubhouse or it could be anything else, that has like increased exponentially. And I saw that even teams are starting to use some of these apps and devices versus players meeting in person, because that way they'd be like saving up much more time. I saw that on like NFL.com or something. But I feel like that's definitely like a very prominent space. It's as if like you couldn't have, it's hard to imagine like the accelerating growth that has had, not including the pandemic, right? So yeah, that's kind of cool. It's pretty neat.
Okay,
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Oh yeah. I was just saying, I think I'm not sure like about their marketing campaign and what it's built around, but I think what they're trying to do is like WhatsApp is a more personal version of Instagram, right? You can only chat with someone else if you know their number. So I think what they're trying to do is make a more social version of maybe like something like Zoom, because it's really blown up during the quarantine. So yeah, kind of like a social version of a group call, basically. You can find anyone and just talk with them. Also, I think I don't think the technology was there like 5 or 6 years ago for having like 10 people flow in and out like seamlessly out of a voice call over the internet. So yeah, I feel like this is the perfect time for something like that to come up.
Okay,
Actually, I think that Discord. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What you say? Okay. What I was trying to say, like Discord is obviously the informal Zoom right now. The Clubhouse's main unique selling point is supposed to be the fact that celebrities are going to be on it. So like Discord definitely is like a really big success with informal Zooms, and like people, Discord nearly doubled their entire user base during the pandemic. So like it existed, and a lot of other things existed too, and a lot of other things came up too. And I am surprised that something like this didn't boom up early. I think that there must be something, but Clubhouse actually hit this thing off with the celebrities really early on, and that is their major strategy. I mean, I don't think that there is any other USP, because if there are people, if they want to talk, there's like so many, there's like millions of Discord communities you can go to and talk to anyone. If you want to talk to your friends, you have other ways to talk to them. And Discord is also obviously good with all the Among Us and other things. So like there are a lot of frameworks already there. Like Clubhouse's main this thing is like you can just drop into and like talk to a celebrity on this thing, and they really hit it off. Like that is the major breakthrough they had.
Okay, so I know Twitter Spaces is in private beta, and like probably none of us are able to use it. That would be cool if one of us is on that list. Let me know. But I ran into a space the other day, so I actually have a side-by-side comparison that we can look at, and we can kind of compare because they look pretty similar, but also pretty different. Wait, why won't it let us see? Okay, so it will only let us see it once at a time. So let's see. Oh, you can collect multiple windows. Cool. Okay, do you guys see like Twitter Spaces on the left and Clubhouse on the right?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, cool. So what differences do you guys see between them? These are like direct competitors. Oh, feel free to say it. Is someone putting it in the chat? Is it inside Twitter or separate? It's inside of Twitter. So similar to how you write a tweet, you can start a space. And then my understanding is that you can either start a space with specific people, or you can say like people who follow me can talk, or everyone can talk. Does no one see any differences? Oh, okay, go ahead.
I guess with what you were just explaining, well, I don't know all the full mechanics of Clubhouse, but it seems like with Twitter, you can create a bit more privacy with like more close-knit groups, rather than just like huge rooms in Clubhouse. But it seems like just like on the surface, like they have the same mechanics.
Yeah, I feel like they have like the same features, but I like Clubhouse's UI much better. Like whatever PM was working on Clubhouse, the Twitter PM needs to learn from them because there's no need for there to be like a whole section of text like speaker, 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 listener, listener, listener looks really chaotic. And I like how Clubhouse's PM did it where they just have like the green icon if you're a moderator. And then I also like the leave quietly versus just leave. I feel like that is also nicer because you know, like it's not going to give like a ding noise when you're leaving or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
So
the advantage Twitter has that it has like the already like it already has all the celebrities. It has like people's accounts. Like everyone is connected to a lot of people. So the existing database is like perfect with the Twitter spaces. Like because Twitter is like the closest people are to celebrities, other than like definitely not Instagram or Facebook, but like Twitter is the place where people are more connected to celebrities already, and there are a lot of celebrities who are exclusively on Twitter. So it is like the most famous among them. It also like people follow their favorite celebrities. Not like they have to go and find Elon Musk on some app or something or register or wait for an invite. It's already there. They just need to like hit it off as soon as possible and they can actually succeed at this.
So do you think if Twitter Spaces launches, it'll wipe out Clubhouse?
That is difficult to say. I cannot speculate that, but I really think that it has a really big upper hand. Like, I believe so.
Yeah, Govind, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just skeptic of like social media platforms usually trying to like add features. The problem is like we've already defined Twitter to like be a place to tweet. Like the name itself gives something away. I'm not at Twitter to like say something. Clubhouse's name, its branding literally gives it away what it's supposed to be. But Twitter Spaces, like, I don't know. I feel like it's the same thing as like Facebook trying to go into like the live streaming area. It's not as it's just simply not as successful as Twitch and YouTube Live. Because YouTube has already defined itself to be the word live in it. It's already a video place and live videos that make sense to me. Twitch already was like a gaming platform initially, and it's just flown up to be this live stream area. But the problem with a lot of these brands is it's just not differentiated. Like currently, I hate Facebook, like Facebook's mobile UI. There are like 6 different tabs for me.
It's so chaotic.
One for Marketplace, like I simply am not interested. Marketplace is the only thing that's reasonably okay with me, like on Facebook right now. Everything else is just not it.
So you don't think Twitter's Periscope did much?
I mean, they shut it down eventually, didn't they? Like, that's a problem. Like, whenever you try to launch something, if it's too different, no one's gonna like it.
Yeah.
I think that the Clubhouse's like thought leadership in that space has to account for something. I think they're gonna go a very long way before they eventually get shut out. I think. Pretty sure. Let me see what Aditya said.
That was a good one.
Yeah. That's probably how it all started out. Let's just create a space where he's not in it, right?
So actually, let's talk about that. How do you think PMs can navigate trust and safety in audio spaces? Silence. No one has anything.
If you look at the feature in the screen, right? Can you go like back to sharing your screen?
Yeah. Oh shoot. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Okay, talk while I find it.
No, okay, so basically in one of the screens it said, I'm not sure if Twitter actually had this option, but it said in the top left, show all rooms or show, singular rooms or things like that. Whereas for Twitter, I'm not sure if they could have that multifaceted functionality, right? So I'm not really sure how that kind of plays into the effect of privacy, which I kind of wanted to pose that question to you guys. So see that, like, if you go to like the Clubhouse space right now, right?
Yeah, let's actually check. Let me open up Clubhouse.
Does anyone want invites to Clubhouse?
What?
Does anyone? Yeah.
So I think it's iOS only, and I have an Android.
Oh.
People who own an iPhone, it's great. For people who don't, it's bad luck. But I think Aditya had something to say, right?
I was just responding to Disha's thing about like I forgot what she said, but sorry. But essentially, I think it's going to be a lot harder to like moderate. I guess just the speech and whatever on audio platforms, which makes them a lot riskier than text. Because since text, you have like a physical record of what people says, so you can hold people accountable. With audio, and like if, for example, you just have like you don't have a profile picture, you can just like say whatever you want, and there's probably no consequences, especially since the conversations aren't recorded. So I think it's going to be really hard to effectively moderate specific rooms unless there's like a live moderator in each room that is like that is trustworthy. I guess like maybe you could develop AI that would do that, but that would take a long time, and it would I mean it definitely wouldn't work like immediately. So there's definitely, if the audio space of social media is going to become a thing, it's going to have like a long growing period before it becomes like solid, I think.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean, because remember when we all started on Zoom last year, there were a lot of Zoom crashes, and because of that, like they were like Zoom is not trustworthy. Let's shift to Microsoft and like other companies. Like it's kind of like a similar thing.
Okay, I just checked on Clubhouse. It looks like you can't report a room, and there's no like trust and safety features on the front screen. But let's say you wanted to report like a specific individual, you can click on their profile and it'll let you block them, report them for trolling, or report an incident. Which I guess is good enough.
I guess one
People?
sort of.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
I was just gonna say, just going off of Aditya's point, I think at least with Clubhouse, there's kind of like an inherent almost barrier of safety. Not really, but like the fact that it's like invite only, certainly bringing in like quote unquote good people. But I think it's definitely a concern for something like Twitter Spaces or for whatever Facebook is doing, where you just need a Twitter or Facebook account and they're not really controlling, who's going in and if like people who are using the platform know you. So that can definitely become a target for like pretty easy, I don't know, like it's just like you don't know who's coming in and coming out of the platform. So there's an inherent danger to that.
Definitely. I think we have a new person. Ananya, do you want to introduce yourself, your name, your major, and where you're calling in from? Also, I love your last name.
Oh, right. Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm a computer science freshman and I'm hoping to declare into business, secondary major. I was here last meeting, but today I had a conflict before, so that's why I'm really late. And yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember, I think Ananya's taking this session from India, and it's like 6:30
right.
in the morning. So like, thank you for being here.
I have like plenty of classes and meetings scheduled on Wednesdays, so I'm pretty much, I'm nocturnal at this point.
All right, cool. Have you used Clubhouse before, Ananya? Do you want anything to add to Clubhouse? That's what we're talking about.
I have not actually, so I'll have to look it up though.
I've heard a lot of people have been saying Clubhouse is a missed opportunity in India because like 99% of the market is Android, and like almost everyone has an Android there, and the app is iOS only. So maybe if another startup goes and buys or creates an Android version of this app, they might steal the entire market, which would be really interesting to see.
I guess that's where Twitter Spaces can swoop in.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I feel like Twitter just has a really big trust and safety problem. Like we saw it during the election. Like what about fake news on these audio spaces? There's no way to track how information is being spread. There's no way to track who said what unless you like backtrack an audio conversation. Like what do you guys think about like using sentiment analysis on like ongoing conversations to like kick out people that say something weird or use a bad word. Do you think that would be like useful or a huge privacy violation?
Can I say something? Uh, Firstly, about the Twitter thing, I just sent a link as well. So Twitter is trying to basically solve this issue of moderation by decentralizing social media in general. Basically, shift the blame to the users, not to Twitter, because currently there's a problem with like the government. Thing is, once you start putting in moderation, that's when you're no longer a social media platform. A social media platform should be allowing everyone to speak their thoughts. That's the one thing Clubhouse has to its advantage. Say someone says something fake in a room. There's a limit of like 5,000 people. Obviously, if someone's live streaming this to Twitch, that's a whole different thing. And I'll say that's more of Twitch's fault for allowing a live stream to stay up. But like when you're effectively stopping the spread at 5,000 people, there's not too many people that are gonna like react to that fake news. Problem with Twitter is there are like a million people reading Donald Trump's tweets at any given time. Like, that's the problem. If when you show it to everyone, and that's why, like, I would say back in the day, a rumor say could only be spread to 100 people because that's how many people lived in your town. This is the best thing about Clubhouse. There are only 100 people in your room. You can only spread as much as there are people.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's an advantage that they have.
I think another thing that comes to mind though is like, have you heard of like the stories about how that conspiracy theory group QAnon, people have lost like their family, like their elderly parents or like people who were rational thinkers to like this crazy conspiracy theory. So maybe it's that misinformation won't spread from a rational person to person we lost a long time ago, but it'll spread between groups of people who believe in this like crazy theory that like Anderson Cooper eats children, like all these random things that QAnon believers actually believe in. Like they genuinely believe this.
Wait, that's not
What
true.
if what if like they had their own clubhouse where they met on a weekly basis and they just encouraged each other, like don't give up? How would Clubhouse identify that this is not an okay club? And if they kick them out, wouldn't they get like this is how Parler came to be? So I think there's a lot of different types of misinformation that could be spread, almost like a snowball effect. All right. I think, do we want to move on to crypto or continue talking about Clubhouse? Or what do you think?
I don't know. We can probably switch to crypto, and I think Govin had a really good article which kind of like links to like social media network Bitcoin, which could be like a good diversion and kind of like a decentralized network. Yeah, so we wanted to talk about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin reached the highest level of 52, I think, yesterday or something. And just want to like carry forward that conversation into like cryptocurrency and like fintech. And I think Manas could probably talk more about that.
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about crypto, but I think that because it's such a big, there's a lot of different spaces within fintech itself, right? You have like mobile payments, you have these, hedge fund types apps, you have these mobile trading platforms such as Robinhood, you have these banking systems, you got cash management apps, you got so many different other stuff, right? But yeah, I mean, it's I think just the concept of cryptocurrency and just blockchain in general is super cool, and I'm still like learning a lot about it every day. Yeah.
We do have a YouTube video. There's a 1-minute YouTube video on what is Bitcoin, which we
Yeah,
can
cool.
watch.
So that.
Hopefully it'll be better than the first one.
What the hell is cryptocurrency?
That was so funny.
Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency. Bitcoins are digital coins you can send through the internet. Compared to other alternatives, Bitcoins have a number of advantages. Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower, you can use them in every country, your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. Let's look at how it works. Bitcoins are generated all over the internet by anybody running a free application called a Bitcoin miner. Mining requires a certain amount of work for each block of coins. This amount is automatically adjusted by the network such that Bitcoins are always created at a predictable and limited rate. Your Bitcoins are stored in your digital wallet, which might look familiar if you use online banking. When you transfer Bitcoins, an electronic signature is added. After a few minutes, the transaction is verified by a miner and permanently and anonymously stored in the network. The Bitcoin software is completely open source and anybody can review the code. Bitcoin is changing finance the same way the web changed publishing. When everyone has access to a global market, great ideas flourish. Let's look at some examples of how Bitcoins are already used today. You can purchase video games, gifts, books, servers, and alpaca socks. Several currency exchanges exist where you can trade your Bitcoins for dollars, euros, and more. Bitcoins are a great way for small businesses and freelancers to get noticed. It doesn't cost anything to start accepting them. There are no chargebacks or fees, and you'll get additional business from the Bitcoin economy. For your first Bitcoins and more information, visit weusecoins.com.
Cool. And if anyone wants to learn more about what is Bitcoin, the CEO of Coinbase, which is like the biggest vendor for buying crypto, is actually coming on Clubhouse today. So if you want to get in, like if you're not on there yet, just drop your name in like general or something. And I think a couple of should have invites and we can get you on there.
Quick question about the Clubhouse thing. Can like people make money? Like, or is it monetized?
Yeah, so they actually came out with a new press release that they're working on making features so that when you join a room, if you thoroughly enjoyed it, you can actually tip the moderators or people that were speaking so that they start earning money.
Yeah. I thought it was like YouTube ads, except in like a breakout room where everyone can, just be in like under 100 people in the chat, or whatever. But yeah, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool conversation for another day, like talking about the creator economy, like how people are monetizing Instagram, YouTube. I think Twitter just bought a new company that sends revenues through newsletters. So you can send your newsletter through Twitter and be paid for your newsletter, which is really cool. So might be something to look into. All right, does anyone have anything to say about crypto?
How do you find that talk on Clubhouse?
Yeah, good question. What's your @ on Clubhouse?
My @ and also I do have one free invite for anybody who does need it. It's just @ Alex Lazarov.
Wait, actually, I don't think that does anything. Hold on. Okay, search up on the search bar, search up good time. It looks like this. And they are the same people who had Elon, the CEO of Microsoft. It's all them.
Found it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, what do you guys think about crypto and the future? I heard that Elon Musk said that soon you can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin.
Yep. What do you all think about the Tesla investment of like over $1 billion to like into Bitcoin and like the future of like cryptocurrency with like Dogecoin and like all of those different things that are coming up?
I mean, some of these are so wild that it takes a while to just even process, besides just thinking about like the side effects of everything, right? I'm just worried about the whole like regulation of it. Like the SEC has come after him so many times for saying things like, guys, our stock price is too high. And then, it's you can be tweeting that stuff as about your own company, but he says like, oh, it's my personal opinion. Why can't I do it like that? But I don't know. It's hard to put a cap on that guy.
Cryptos aren't regulated like compared to other securities. So like Elon can't say and get away with that. Like
yeah, because it's foreign, right? It's not government based.
Yeah.
But Govind, talk about what you put in the chat. I heard about that too. That's pretty exciting because BNY Mellon's the oldest bank in America.
Yeah, it's like just an asset management company basically. But yeah, so I mean, I guess so far they haven't been banks don't treat them as assets. I know banks definitely have bought a lot of Bitcoin up. I know like I've read somewhere like either Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, one of them had bought up a lot of Bitcoin just as investment, I guess, but this was a long time back. I'm not even sure if I'm saying the right things right now, but I feel like the whole thing about crypto right now is more of still an investment kind of thing. People still see it as an investment, but everyone has this idea that it will keep going up and up and up, and that's the reason to invest in it right now. It's kind of like, I guess, being part of the gold rush,
Yeah.
now, but who's like, it's only in the next few years that we'll know the gold we mined, is it really valuable, or is it just like an investment thing?
It's not just crypto, it's some of the other stocks that actually measure or go along with it as well, right? There's so many like other stocks that actually have indicators relating to it. So usually there's always like a big wave effect that happens. So yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Tahir's question. What do you guys think about governments trying to control crypto? Like India is trying to ban Bitcoin and introduce its own cryptocurrency. I wonder what that would accomplish. Charging an 18% tax on Bitcoin? Dang.
Yeah, just like Alex said, wouldn't that defeat the purpose of like
Yeah.
having a decentralized system? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just them trying to like soft ban Bitcoin so they can just, keep getting money through taxes on just regular currency.
Oh wait, they allowed it last March? I didn't know that.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess they got to make money somehow, but that does defeat like the concept of Bitcoin. Like it can't be regulated by anything.
So in terms of like currency value, like do you guys think if Bitcoin becomes more and more prominent and people start accepting this as a currency, won't the value of the US dollar go down immensely? Because the only reason the US dollar is so high is because there's a demand for it. You have to earn it to pay for things. But if you can just earn crypto, then what does anyone care about the dollar?
It wouldn't just be like US dollar, right? It could be like the yen too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it could be like any country that starts accepting crypto. I mean, that would like crash everything. I don't think anyone's ever lived in a world where how would that even work? Like, what about like when you go to different countries and you have to, like, sometimes you lose money in the exchange rates. Now that wouldn't happen, right? If globally everyone starts using crypto. So how would that work for like production? Like how countries or companies, like car companies, they keep leaving America to go to like Mexico or other countries where labor is cheaper. How would that work if everyone's getting paid in the same currency?
I mean,
I feel like the whole system's gonna crash.
I think it would have to be totally reformed because like you're just globalizing the economy.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah,
So-
economic cost is gonna hit different then in a few years.
So maybe Bitcoin will help with equality because it'll get rid of so much global like inequity in income.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it might help with inequality, but I don't see the motivation for governments using it, like to have like a global economy, because like they'll basically lose power on like their own economies. Like,
yeah,
it's not worth it. But like as a whole global economy, it's like really good. But then I don't think like individual governments, like depending on the type of government you are, like capitalist, like socialist, whatever, like it might be hard for governments to accept that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe governments would eventually accept it when it's just become like an immense social norm with so many like maybe different banks and companies accepting it first. And that would just be the first step. And maybe eventually governments won't have a choice. Maybe that would be the scenario.
Yeah. I can't imagine paying taxes in crypto, Govind. That would be crazy.
It's tax season already. Like, don't stress me out. I have to file my taxes.
Me too. So how many of you have investments in crypto? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. 2 of us. Awesome. Oh, 3 of us. Cool. So Tahir, what coins have you invested in? You can put in the chat if you like. Manas, what about you? What coins have you invested in?
Well, I was on Bitcoin for the longest time, but then I pulled out because I only had a limited buying power. So I sold, and then I think I invested in something else. I think in options. But I also invested in Doge when it was at
Oh
what?
my god.
Doge at 5
Oh
cents.
wow, ZRXOXT. Ether I know, but the other two I've never heard of them before.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I've bought like the regular Bitcoin. I bought it at like 26 and it's at 52 today, which is really crazy. And then I bought Graph, which I think would be worth looking into if anyone's thinking. I bought it at 30 cents in December and it's at $2 today. So it's really affordable if anyone's looking into buying it. ETH is really cool. One of my friends at CICS Careers, actually Thomas, was telling me he mined ETH when he was 16 years old, like in high school. And I think he mined it at like $2 or something. And today it's at $2,000. And this was like in 2016, so 5 years ago, which is really crazy, like really crazy.
Do y'all have any like resources for like learning how to invest in crypto or advice?
Advice? LOL.
I think your best bet right now, I think like Goen, you might be able to fact check me on this, but about like 40% of the fintech industry is covered by robo advisors, right?
Robo advisors. I'd never trust a robot. No. The only
No.
robot I trust is Roomba. Not with my money, bro.
Yeah, I think for me, that's how I actually learned about, index funds, about how to actually pour your money into like a Roth IRA, things like that, like the basic long-term wealth management stuff. And then I actually started playing around with options on Robinhood. That's kind of how I learned about it.
All right.
I actually went to a conference, Alex, called Lift Her Health, and it was or Wealth, and there was a bunch of like Silicon Valley tech women who just like got together to talk about money because like women don't talk about money enough, and so they just talked about like everything, like investing in real estate, gold, stocks, everything. I'll send you the link to that conference. So if they do it again, I think that's the best place to learn.
I would very much appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think there are also like financial literacy workshops at UMass. I don't know exactly where. I'm part of a fraternity, so like we have it as part of that. But like outside of like that, like in general UMass community, I don't really know. But that's like a good thing to like know as like a college student in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when I started, like, it was long ago when I found out about Bitcoin and started learning, and I took a course on Coursera offered by Wharton, and it was a really good course on both blockchain and Bitcoin. When I first wanted to buy Bitcoin, it was like $400, but my parents didn't permit me because, okay, obviously, why would they? Because like I've been wanting to buy Bitcoin since it was around $400, but I've still not bought anything.
Honestly, I feel like just avoid any video that tries to paint Bitcoin as the next big thing, or anyone that tries to, I guess, sell it as a forex. Like, you know, how the forex ads you see, like, oh, I started investing in forex, I've made so and so money. Just avoid anything of that sort. Just something that like really explains what Bitcoin really is, and like I guess read up behind the history of Bitcoin as well. That's one of the most interesting parts because I feel like most people are just investing in Bitcoin because, like,
memes, right?
It's like it's
Because
not,
of Elon Musk.
yeah.
Following his tweets. But dude, I feel like there's so much misinformation being spread just because of that. If you look at TikTok, if you look at some of the more digestible like news bites, a lot of them are like, yo, buy this stock, or guys, invest in this type of cryptocurrency. And it's like it's so dumb because like there's a reason why so many investment advisors, the guy who plans your money, how you're going to invest, right? Or even like robo advisors that no, they don't have any sort of IRA, no, what's it called? The certificate, like the license to actually invest, these investments. And I just think that's really scary because that could be spreading a lot of misinformation. And unlike the news that may or may not impact your life, playing around with money and just basing that off of someone else's soulless claims, that's super dangerous. So I'd be careful like what you see on like, some of these platforms.
I could rant about like financial TikTok forever. There's a
There's
lot
a
of
financial TikTok.
misinformation. What?
There's a financial TikTok.
That is literally all of my For You page.
Yeah.
No way. Is it run by like 13-year-olds?
It's run by like a bunch of teenage guys. Like it's run by like a bunch of aspiring day traders, or like some, I see a good amount of accounts that like just look at what like, you know, celebrities or senators or like prominent CEOs are trading, and they try to copy that and
Yeah.
see what the returns are. And like a lot of them also give advice on like how to start investing, or like how to get into IRAs or crypto, and like, you know, a bunch of stuff. But like a lot of it isn't from real financial advisors, what Manas was saying.
Oh.
It's kind of a bummer.
All right, well, I think we're at time.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah, thank you all for coming. This was great conversation. We'll probably continue a bit of this next week. And I forgot what we were doing next week.
Acquisitions.
So we'll be discussing like a bit of acquisition strategies. Like there's like a book called Cracking the PM Interview. And we'll be following a bit of those questions and like some go-to-market strategies about what PM use. If you're buying one company from another, like if let's say that Microsoft owns Skype, or like Facebook owns Instagram, what's the use case for them? Like what's their motivation, user base, all of those different things. So we'll be discussing that and like a bit more other things as well.
Yeah, and speaking of cracking the PM interview, if anyone's interviewing actively for PM right now, feel free to reach out in the recruiting channel if you want to do a mock interview. We've, like the leadership team, we've all done them before, and they're really, really helpful. So if you have any interviews coming up, let us know. All right, see ya guys. See you next week.
Thank you.